Hello and welcome to another episode of The Recruitment Doctor with me, your host, Dan Hoff Rodriguez. This week we've been really focusing on our other social channels on interviews. So breaking down what an interview process not just looks like, but all the touch points within it, prep, research, and what I wanted to talk to you about in this video was actually touch points and communication, both from a recruiter point of view as well as a candidate point of view, and there of an employer, because an interview process can be very long, or a hiring process can be very long, especially with depending on how many interviews there are. You couple that with technical tasks, you couple that with how long it takes to feedback CVs. This whole process can be very engaging. And so when I talk about the interview process, I'm talking about this part of the hiring process. So when we ultimately send that CV, or you receive a CV as an employer, how long is reasonable to come back on feedback? I think usually CV feedback should take anywhere from 24 to 72 hours. So during that touch point, we are able to manage those expectations with the candidate. So after we speak to them, we say, look, today is the day we're going to send you CV, or you get a CV from a potential candidate directly, employers. I think you should take 24 to 72 hours. Sometimes it's even nice just to acknowledge that you've received it, so they know that they're not just waiting with bated breath. After you've received that CV and you've fed back to the candidate, and hopefully it's a good next step, which will obviously be an interview, we look to arrange that interview. Now again, what is a reasonable time to set that interview up? Is it a week? For me, I think it should be done, again, within that sort of 2 to 4 day period, depending on what it is. If it's a Zoom interview, if it's a telephone call, then I think these things should be accommodated a lot sooner than if it was a face-to-face in-person interview where you need more than one person available perhaps. So if it's an informal first stage interview, I'm thinking, look, within 2 to 4 days, let's get that booked in. And that touch point should be very quick. And there should be various touch points between when you're booking that interview and with the candidate through to when they are actually attending an interview, albeit Zoom or telephone or in person. So what I mean by that is checking in with them, checking their availability, giving them enough notice so they can take the necessary time off, or ensuring that they've got necessary time to prepare. Then following on for those interviews, once they're finished, keeping them in the loop of when there is going to be an opportunity for you to feed back. So after the interview, I think you should be talking to the candidate about when they are expecting feedback, and you should stick by that. Now, we all know that things can happen. For example, if you're waiting to complete that round of interviews, you should manage those expectations and say, look, we have got various interviews, with the last one being on X, therefore we will feedback on Y. Give tangible dates. These are also important for engaging candidates. And depending on how many interviews there are thereafter, hopefully not too many, those touch points should be very, very regular. Exactly what I've said. So checking in, finding out how they're doing, seeing if they've got any other questions. Is there anything that you can do? All of these little things, sometimes you might not have loads of things to tell them, but they are so important in terms of engaging that candidate throughout the process, showing really what you guys are about as an organisation, as a recruitment partner. You're showing all the right aptitudes and, for me, demonstrating your own competencies, because we forget about that. Sometimes we're just focusing on the candidate's competencies. Let's show what we're about as a business, why we want you to be part of it, because it's not about selling what you guys are about. It's actually just demonstrating it through your own actions. So that's my thoughts. Would love to know yours. But communication, regular touch points equals good candidate engagement. I'm out of here. Comment, like, share. I'll see you next time.